Since we still haven't reached chapter 1000, and toy animation being toy animation basically, I saw this theory and I'm still impressed with what I read, to be honest, and thought that you might like it as well. So let's get started.
ロジャーはあの時笑ってた。
The theory might take quite some time, so please bring your tea, coffee, juice, whatever you got to stay focused with the theory and enjoy. A few thousand years ago, an ancient race used to live in the moon, and they were separated to three tribes: the Shandians, the Scypians, and the Balkans. They were much civilized than the Earthlings, and as we know that Enel wanted to go to the moon with his fairy firth, as we know, that they even made an army of robots, and they really had a great technologies. But eventually they ran out of resources, so they decided to go down to Earth. And while the landing process, the Scypians landed on the sky, and they named it Scypia, as you know, and they lived there for hundreds of years. And as you notice that they had these wings because they are really from the moon, not from Earth. After hundreds of years from their landing and forgetting their real homeland, and before 400 years from the real story, the Scypians were shocked because they saw an Earth island stepping up and settled down on the clouds. And from there, the war began between these Scypians to control what they called the upper yard, and between the Shandians to protect what their ancestors kept for hundreds of years, the Golden Bell and the Bonglyph. And it's shown from the story that the Shandians also have wings like the Scypians, and that supports the idea and the theory of the Scypians and the Shandians are really from the same race, and they came from the moon. But the Belkans from the other side, they landed on another island from the sky, and they named it Belka, Enel's hometown. And there they used to have the rumors about the magical ground that got fairy firth, which is actually the moon, but because it's been hundreds of years, so they don't really know it's a real thing. But the Shandians, they actually landed on the ground, and from there they mingled with the human beings and lived there safely for tons of years. And from their marriage, a new race has arisen. It carries half of the blood of the inhabitants of the moon and half of the blood of the inhabitants of the earth. So from there, every child was actually born half lunar and half earthly. So they named them the D family. Generally, the prosperity of the kingdom was actually from their cooperation with the Shandians. So they got a lot of hate from the other kingdoms because they are much civilized than them. So the other kingdoms felt the danger of that. So they had an idea to cooperate with the great kingdom, but with the aim of betraying them when their secrets are revealed. And that's actually what happened. And from there, the Void Century began. And the Great War started. They destroyed the whole kingdom and annihilated everyone on it, except the real Shandians, who ran away into Jaya's island and stayed there secretly to start their own new civilization, the City of Gold and the Golden Bell. But the D, a few of them managed to survive, and from that time they started making the great weapons, but they couldn't use them. So from there, the D family decided to write down their history on the Bonglyph with the cooperation of the Kozuki family. And at that time, the world government was formed. After 400 years, half of Jaya's island, which carries a Bonglyph and a great treasure, flew to the sky, to Skypia. So, there was no lunar creature living on Earth on that time. but there was still half lunar creatures, which they were the D family, of course. On that time, a new war began between these Skypians and the ancestors of the Shandians. Despite that, the Shandians, they didn't really know what they were fighting for, but they know that they sworn to protect their history, and their war lasted for 400 years until Luffy and his crew came and freed everybody from the war, and they lived peacefully and lovely like they used to do on Moon. But they don't really know about that. And that was the end of the theory. I wish that you were somewhat convinced about the story. But of course, despite that, we still know nothing about the Void Century and a lot of stories, but it kinda convincing. So I hope that you liked the theory and enjoyed it. And please don't forget to like and subscribe and share and leave a comment down below. Tell me your thoughts about this theory, tell me your thoughts about this video in general. So thank you all, see you next time.